with things, I'm sure that that just enabled him more.
Just to let you know, I just turned off the comments for a while.
Okay.
Just to focus on your story and what we're listening to. I'll turn the comments back on after, but as of right now, I just turned them off. So I just want us to be the full attention to be on you and the story and what we're talking about.
Okay.
So go ahead, you can continue.
So whenever my mom questioned him, of course, it ended in a beating. He beat her with the belt. He beat her with his fist. He was violently abusive to me and my brothers and sisters. This was just who he was. And she just stopped questioning him, you know, and then she turned her anger and frustration towards me. And then I became the other woman and someone that she could not compete with. And it was just the environment in general. So then by the time he started molesting my sisters, this was like a way of life.
And at no point in time did your mother feel like she needs to stop this?
I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. I've never actually witnessed her attempt to stop it. I remember one time we lived in my grandmother has a huge house, and we lived in one of the apartments in the house, and our plumbing broke down. So we had to go down into my grandmother's basement to use the bathroom, and my mom would get all of us kids together and take us downstairs. I begged her for us to not go back upstairs to Daddy, and she just didn't. She said, well, he would find us. I mean, what battered women go through in trying to leave their abuser, and I'm not making excuses for her, but it takes a woman in abusive relationships at least 7 times to try to leave her abuser before she actually succeeds.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people always give the victim a certain type of blame. A lot of people, even with the surviving R. Kelly thing, everybody was like, so why didn't they just leave the house? Why did they stick around? Why did this one do this? Why did this one do that? So I'm glad you brought that up.
Right. And it really develops like this insecurity in a person who is being victimized in that way. They don't even trust themselves. They don't trust their decisions, and they put all of their hope and dependency in the person that is abusing him. So abusing them. Well, it could be him or her, but abusing them. And it's just really that difficult mentally to escape. Now, me, you know, as my father's child, as my mother's child, I went in and out of that. You see what I'm saying? It got to the point I did try to run away at some point, but then I realized I have all of these siblings that had to stay in the situation. I used to have nightmares of running away and having to breastfeed my baby sister. So it was just the emotional. It's just there. I blanked out. The emotional and psychological stress is debilitating. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, the emotional and psychological stress is really debilitating, and you know, you just can't. And my mother never did. So she never tried to leave, even on the occasions that I tried to beg her to. And it wasn't until, you know, I feel, so a lot of people don't know this, but I dabble in, well, not Wicca, but as far as like, you know, very spiritual things and spells and things like that. Especially during the time when I felt like I had no power in my situation. So I figured that I would try to affect these things, these like invisible things that I felt that maybe my energy could affect. And after doing that over and over and over again, I truly believe between whatever God's plan was and whatever work and energy I put out in the universe, one day my son from my father woke up with seizures, and my father was out of town at the time, and my mom was totally against us taking my son to the hospital, but then my brother happened to be visiting, and he took me and my son to the hospital, and that's what got the ball
So
rolling.
this is your brother. This is your brother of the same mother and same father.
Yes, yes, he is the child after me.
Okay, so he was also aware of what was going on.
Yes, he grew up.
So all of your siblings knew what was going on.
All of my siblings know. By the time I was about, I think I was 12, my father literally announced it to them that he was keeping me, and that I wouldn't be getting married to anybody.
Oh, meaning that you're his woman.
Yes. Yeah.
See.
Yeah.
So you just said that your brother was visiting. So they were at one point in time they got away. They got out of the house. They was not
well, he did, because my father was a misogynist. He was a sexist. He was a misogynist. He definitely believed that men are superior to women. So growing up, my brother always, even though he was younger with me, he always had access to doing and experiencing things that I didn't have to, because I was a woman, or I was a female. So when my father got into the music business, which was about 1995, he met the Fugees, and my brother was a child prodigy, and he got into editing and special effects. Like when a lot of the CGI really first came out, my brother knew how to do all of that stuff. So he became a moneymaker in my father's mind. So he was allowed to, go out and do things, get a job, but that did not refute the fact that even my brother still had mental chains that my father put on him. So yeah, he could go out and be out there and still keep the secret and not do anything about it and not tell anybody.
Okay. One of the things that I want to say to you is that when you speak very articulate. You sound very educated. Being that you were homeschooled and you didn't get the education that most people got, where did you start to get that education from?
Well, my father taught me up until I was 11, and at that point, that's another control thing. He just stopped all education, so I probably was raised up to a 3rd or 4th grade education. But also, I was tested by the state, and the results, I was 15 points below genius. So in general, I think that I have just an intelligence level, and I absorb information and knowledge, and I read a lot. And it was actually my job at 14, 15, 16 years old to write all of the music video treatments for my dad. So I think that, and before I go into this narrative, I want to say that nothing is all good and nothing is all bad. So as evil and horrible and disgusting as my father was, he did instill some disciplines, our creativity. He definitely fostered our creativity and just gave us access to certain things that a lot of kids probably didn't have access to, especially in our neighborhood. And, I had access to computers and technology and things like that. And I think that just always kind of just stimulated my brain. So when I went to college at 35 years old, I excelled. I graduated with 2 bachelor's degrees, magna cum laude. And I'm not going to say it came easy to me, because I was also raising children and providing for my children. But, I think the way I process information, and I listen. I think listening is extremely important in how our brain processes things.
Okay. What state were you raised in?
What state?
Yeah, what state were you raised in?
I am a Jersey girl. I have been a Jersey girl all my life.
Okay, so all of this happened in New Jersey.
Yes, all of this happened in New Jersey.
For the most part, being that you mentioned the Fugees, a lot of people know that they're from New Jersey. So yeah, I know that, but I just want to get some clarity for the people.
Right.
So how was your relationship with grandparents?